Good evening, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Kernersville Board of Aldermen. Today is Wednesday, March 27th, and we're glad you could join us this evening. We'll begin by calling the meeting to order. I'd like to recognize Evangelist Wanda Lawrence of Jehovah Shammah Ministries to give our invocation this evening.
Thank you. Greetings. Good evening to everyone. Certainly respect to the Board of Aldermen and to Mayor Morgan and to everyone. Let us bow our heads. God, we thank you for this time. We appreciate you for your goodness and your everlasting love that you show up on us. And we ask, oh God, that you bless this meeting. Be in this meeting tonight. We ask that you guide the leaders, oh God, as they make decisions, Lord, that it would be a blessing to the town of Kernersville. We ask, oh God, that you be with us, bring peace and harmony, Lord. And we ask that you just have your way. Let everything be done decently and in order. And we ask, oh God, that you be with everyone tonight, those that are speaking, that you help them, oh God, to speak with clarity, Lord, and bring forth the issue, the concern that they might have. And we pray that the decisions are made that will benefit the people of the town of Kernersville. We thank you for your many blessings, and we give you praise and glory. In Jesus' name, amen.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Mr. Swisher, did you have a recommendation to amend the agenda for April 2nd to add the Automobile Museum?
Yes, ma'am. He indicated he could be here that night. We thought we had some information. He's not on the agenda for tonight. We thought we could print it out and give it to you all tonight, but we didn't have it, and neither did he. So we can, if y'all will amend it, we can put it on April the 2nd.
Is Jim still here?
No, ma'am, but
Okay.
he said that would work for him.
All right. Do I have a motion to amend the agenda for April 2nd to add the Kernersville Automobile Museum?
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor? It's unanimous.
Madam Mayor, who are we giving credit to? Because there were multiple
Chris.
responses.
And then I think it was JR. If anyone hasn't toured the Auto Museum yet, it's quite a wonderful experience. And staffed by volunteers, so. All right. So we do not have any public hearings tonight. So it is our practice to do all of our public ceremonial items first, then the public hearings, and then we go to the public session. And the first item in the public session is always speakers from the floor. So if there's someone who'd like to address the Board of Aldermen on a matter not included on the agenda, this is your opportunity to do so. Okay. If you could come forward and give your name and address.
Good evening. Danny O'Connor, 1432 Prospect Hill Street in Kernersville and Weldon Village.
Okay, hold on if I can. Mr. Hooker, were you able to get his name and address? His microphone wasn't very loud.
Green here? Yep. Yes.
You speak up.
Okay.
If you can speak right into it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you for the time. I actually came tonight to get a presentation on the Auto Museum, but one thing I wanted to bring it attention.
Oh, hang on a minute. If you could repeat your name and your address, since you didn't fill out a speaker card, the clerk needs to note it.
Danny O'Connor, 1432 Prospect Hill Street, Kernersville.
May I ask how you spell your last name?
Capital O apostrophe capital C O double N O R.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Again, I appreciate the time. I'll be real quick. I'm a resident of Weldon Village, and I know there was a big planning process for that. And I believe there's a commercial component that's supposed to go in there, supermarket and other retail shops to make it a walkable planned community. It seems that hasn't happened yet, and I didn't know if the town had any idea when that was happening. I've noticed that when I bought in there, we were sold on the premise of 5 to 6 rental buildings, and it looks like there's 21 now. So there's going to be a lot of people there. And as some of you may know, it's already a line to get into 66 and some of the food establishments closest to there. So I was just wondering if there's any updates on when that supermarket, if the town would know because they're involved in the planning, and also if there are going to be sidewalks going from that area down 66 to some of the other retail establishments, because I've noticed some of the children from Bishop McGinnis and even some adults coming from Weldon Village basically walking in North Carolina 66 to get to McDonald's and Dario's and stuff. So, you know, God forbid, before something happens with the speed on 66, there is no way for people to get to the retail establishments are there. I personally have my elderly parents in there, so it's a little tougher for that group of people as well. So, but I appreciate the time and any information you may have, if you have it, that'd be interesting to know.
Sure, Mr. Swisher or Ms. Garner, do you want to update him?
The Community Development Department meets with Milt Rhodes on a regular basis to hear updates about his planning and forecasting for Weldon Village. I know he's had conversations with some future potential commercial tenants, but I don't know his timeline or if those have solidified beyond initial conversations. So I know that he is actively pursuing it, and market forces may be what they are.
I think the medical facilities are part of Weldon, though, right?
Yes, it is. The Cone Medical's there.
Yes, there's one dental office and one a medical facility.
And then to your question of sidewalks, Mr. Swisher may have more information on it, but we did look into, at a request of Bishop McGinnis, working on improving the sidewalk infrastructure in there, but part of it is that it goes between unincorporated Forsyth County and Kernersville municipal limits, depending on which parcel's which. So that was a difficult thing jurisdictionally. And then usually sidewalk infrastructure goes in when there's a road improvement, and there hasn't been since the sidewalks became more part of a infrastructure project for roads. That's the NCDOT road as well, so there's an issue with that as well.
No problem. I just don't want to see anyone hit coming from that school.
Oh,
'cause
believe me,
I was surprised to see them walking down the lanes of traffic.
Believe me, we looked into a lot of different things to try and do traffic control and more awareness of there being a school there. And what we can do pretty easily is speed enforcement if there's certain times of day, especially that you know.
I think it's mostly when the students are out of school, but before their sports start, they seem to be walking down and getting food and then walking back to the school.
Yeah, a lot of the children who go to school there live a distance away, and so they stay there all day, and they do have that break.
Yep. So,
We share your concern.
no problem. I just wanted to put attention to it. Thank you.
Thank you. We share the concern, but we got to have the opportunity to, as all of you who followed Kernersville and infrastructure and sidewalk projects, every now and then we can get one in a place that's needed. We've gotten one in at School Street near Kernersville Elementary. We enforced the requirement to put sidewalks in at Caleb's Creek. When that elementary school was built, we enforced the requirement to put sidewalks in the hospital area, Kernersville Medical Parkway, as that was being built. So we have added sidewalks to existing areas, like in front of the McDonald's. There's several sidewalk projects, including one on the agenda for it's either tonight or we're going to talk about it tonight on West Mountain Street. So we try to add sidewalks when we can. It helps if the people who own the property that the sidewalk would run over are willing to have a sidewalk there and help with the town's acquisition of that right of way. So that's one way people can help us to have more sidewalks, is to work with the town when their property is an area where a sidewalk makes sense. Okay, thank you for your comments. Is there any other speakers from the floor this evening? All right, we will move on then to the 2023 annual reports and 2024 budget requests. And the first is Kernersville Little Theater.
It doesn't bend very well. Slide it up. Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to let you know what we've been up to since the same time last year, and the opportunity to request funding from the town. Since we've last been here, we actually finished out our 2022-23 season last June with Into the Woods, one of Stephen Sondheim's most well-known shows that weaves a mishmash of fairy tales and teaching life lessons about what's important along the way. Not only did we have a strong audience for this show, but we've recently been notified that we were nominated for an ACE Award. It's a triad-based award, which stands for Artists Celebrating Excellence for this production. So we should find out in late spring whether we won. We also kicked off our 23-24 season with a couple of comedies, something our audiences always appreciate. Ripcord was a zany comedy about the antics that happen when two retirement community roommates do not hit it off. And I believe you'll recognize some familiar faces in these pictures in our audience this evening. We continued into November with Mama Won't Fly, another wildly popular comedy and name-recognized show. That show took the audience on a cross-country road trip to attend a family wedding, all because Mama wouldn't fly. We continued our season with our annual Bring a Book to Life production. You all know this is something that we've received town support for many years, and it's a project that's very near and dear to our hearts. We had multiple generations of family in the cast and working on the show. And these shows mean so much to the students at Kernersville Elementary, but they also mean a lot to the young people and families who participate in them. And there are always between 700 and 800 students at Kernersville Elementary, and we were able to give them all a copy of either the fantastic Mr. Fox, or for the younger children, we chose a book called Fox at Night that was more age appropriate to their reading level. Next up in June, we have the wildly popular Disney musical Beauty and the Beast. And guess what? We snatched up those rights right before they went back into restriction because it's going on tour. So be sure to mark your calendars to come see that show in June. We will most likely have another large cast that's filled with family members and friends from the community. Last year, I also provided an update that we would be looking to secure additional funding for an update to our lighting equipment, and I am happy to report that our new light board has arrived. And if you come see Beauty and the Beast, not only will you get to see our new lighting equipment, but our new sound equipment purchased last season, together in action. Support from the town provides financial security for our organization and helps us diligently plan these upgrades. Jeff could probably tell you more, but I can tell you our sound equipment was patching into 18-wheeler communications or something like that. That's how dated it was. And so both of those upgrades were sorely needed. In addition to our performances, of course, you will find our volunteers out in the community, whether it's at Miss Mary's, 4th of July parade, or Christmas by candlelight. We enjoy serving our community, lending set pieces, costume pieces, whatever is needed to the schools in the area for no charge to them. Lastly, and most excitedly, I wanted to give you a preview of next season. There is so much to be excited about. We are calling it our legendary season. We expect our season opener, Escape to Margaritaville, to attract different audiences than some of our normal productions. That will be one that parrot heads across the Triad and beyond will be interested in attending. And we're excited to be producing this in partnership with the Botanical Gardens. So we will be creating that lawn party atmosphere and enjoying the music of Jimmy Buffett. Our Bring a Book to Life show for next season is Miracle on 34th Street, just in time for the holidays. We will round out the season with a murder mystery classic from Agatha Christie, Murder on the Orient Express, and we will take on another Stephen Sondheim show that has just come out of rights restriction, and so we were able to grab that in the musical company. In closing, what the town does and financial support of Kernersville Little Theater is greatly appreciated, and investments in the organizations like us and the others here tonight is what keeps the sense of community and that small town feel, even as Kernersville continues to grow. I thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Do the board members have any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next we'll hear from Next Step Ministries.
Am I able to control the slides with this? Okay, just thought I would ask. Okay, thank you. Okay, so my name is Alexandria Hicks. I am the Executive Director of Next Step Ministries. We have had the privilege of operating in Kernersville for 26 years as of February. Our mission is to provide refuge, advocacy, and education to survivors of domestic violence, sexual assault, and the broader community. Our mission has 4 core services. The first is going to be our safe house, and that's probably what most of Kernersville knows us for. It's entirely free of charge, and it is a residential service for those who are fleeing domestic violence, active, dangerous situations. We cover all costs, so that's going to be daily necessities, hygiene. They also have access to our thrift store, and we provide transportation as well. We have advocates on site 24/7 that provide supportive services, and they also staff our 24/7 crisis line. We provide case management where we work closely with victims. We assess their needs, and we also make sure that we are providing appropriate services and can connect them to our many community partners. We provide advocacy, and that's crisis intervention that looks like safety planning. It also includes being able to talk with them about their protection options. And so core advocacy and accompaniment for civil protective order hearings, and also criminal cases if mom needs to testify against her abuser. We also provide hospital accompaniment for those who may be in an emergency situation in the hospital where they have sustained injuries due to their abuse, if they request it. We also provide education for the community, including awareness events and workshops. We actually go into schools, businesses, churches, and clubs where we're able to talk to individuals, talk about the dynamics of domestic violence, and how, as a community, we can come together to break that cycle. And so that means being able to provide information about our agency, what services we provide, how to access them if someone in your congregation or in your office comes to you and says, hey, I need help. Last year, we provided services to 271 individuals. Of those, we had 145 that were Kernersville residents. So that means over 50% of our clients are based right here in Kernersville. That could be your neighbor. That could be someone at the grocery store that you walk past. So it's really important that we kind of understand just the grasp of the people that we serve. So one of the things that we do to kind of evaluate the effectiveness of our program is that we speak with clients 30, 60, and 90 days after they leave our program. We check in with them, continue to provide supportive services, but we also ask them, how are you doing? And 96% of our clients report being in safe, stable housing at those times. So that means not only have they not returned to their domestic violence relationship, but it means that they're in a stable environment where they can continue growing the life that they wanted to have before they left. In 2023, we focused on 3 initiatives. The first was our children's programming. We implemented our Taking Care of Me program in our safe house. Every week we have a children's activity that takes place. We do this because a lot of times children in violent relationships and in homes that are very traumatic, they don't get the opportunity to be children. And so we have ice cream Sunday night, story time, painting, and just popcorn movie night. And these are just opportunities for kids to be kids. We also have the children and trauma workshops that happen every other week in our safe house. It is actually facilitated by a licensed clinical social worker. She comes into the safe house, works directly with moms, and teaches them coping skills and teaches them how they can best support their children through their healing journey. We have an annual school supply giveaway that we started last year, where we supplied 25 local students with those supplies that they needed for school for the 2023 year. We also did a soft launch of our New Beginnings housing program. One of the things that we focused on with this was being able to remove some of the barriers to accessible housing. We focused on financial literacy and budgeting so that we can focus on sustainability. We partnered with Truist Bank, who provided financial literacy workshops for us. And we also utilized the Allstate Moving Ahead curriculum, where we provided educational materials about increasing your credit score, getting a bank account, beginning that savings process. We also partner with Crisis Control Ministry and Green Nest. Crisis Control helps us with that deposit, that first month's rent for our clients, and then Green Nest also helps us with furniture. We cover the application fees, and we also cover moving costs as well. And lastly, but definitely not least, we have really pushed rekindling our relationship with the Kernersville community. And this is just a list of some of the things, or some of the businesses and agencies and organizations that we had the privilege of working with in 2023. And this is a collage of all the great things that we got to do in 2023, the wonderful people we got to meet. And I just want to point out that if you haven't been able to go by our thrift store and see the amazing changes that have taken place over there, I definitely think you should. Our staff and volunteers worked so hard and it looks so beautiful. So I would just highly recommend taking the time to swing by there. This year we hit a record high on our volunteer hours. We hit 10,536 volunteer hours. That is over 3,000 more than last year. So we are just so blessed to be able to have such a strong community support and outpouring of love this year for sure. So in 2023, our contributions that came to us in that funding cycle, we used to kind of continue supporting those initiatives that we had. We did use a lot of it to help with the repairs at our safe house. Maintenance for such a large home does require a bit of funding. So that looks like our vinyl siding repair, pressure washing of our home, and then some of our internal maintenance things. But the biggest thing that was most important to us was being able to remove some of those broken playground equipment that is in our backyard and creating a safer space for the children, but also being able to have a more kid-friendly backyard at our safe house. So obviously I can't take pictures of our backyard because it's an undisclosed location, and I want to make sure that we're doing right by our guests. But as you can see in these photos, the top is our play set that we actually have that's coming in. And at the bottom, you can see the barriers and the mulching. That's what we'll be having installed this spring. So we've got it all together. And so we want to make sure that we have a good place for kids to be kids in the backyard as well. And then we also supported our licensed clinical social workers, so the facilitator for those workshops that I was talking about, and then continued operating costs of our services. Moving forward, we've had 3 additional kind of things that we're focusing on in 2024 as far as our funding initiatives. When I first submitted our proposal, Between then and now, we have had kind of an emergency type thing that's come up. So our agency vehicle very, very quickly in the near future needs to be replaced. And this is a very vital piece of the services that we provide. So we rely on our vehicle to be able to transport clients to court hearings, medical appointments, and we also rely on it to be able to transport food donations to our safe house. And those food donations are how we feed our clients. So it's really important. In the year 2024, we've already provided transportation assistance 122 times. So we heavily rely on our vehicle. So that's going to be a large focus for the year 2024 with our funding. And so we do appreciate any help with that. So then we want to move on to professional services, counseling session costs for our guests. Counseling in any capacity, even with insurance, is expensive, but a lot of times the people that we serve do not have insurance and it's not accessible. So what Next Step would like to do is be able to cover those 3 initial counseling sessions, particularly for children. We're also already in the talks to make a contract with Family Solutions to be able to provide those for children in the safe house. So parents don't even have to go anywhere. We're going to bring the social worker to them, and they're going to work with them and have the session in-house. And so in addition to that, we would like to be able to bring attorney consultation fees into that. And so we as a nonprofit, we don't have an attorney on staff, so we cannot provide legal advice. So what we would like to do is be able to have an attorney that's available and us be able to cover the consultation fees for mom to talk about, okay, custody. How do I maintain custody of my child? How do I make sure that I'm safe legally moving forward with my assets? And so in addition, we want to continue expanding our children's programming. Again, that in-house therapy for children, but we also want to bring that parenting workshop that we have that's in the safe house with that social worker. We want to bring it to the community and open it up to the public so that the public can have free access to those skills and the ability to provide, healing and assistance to their children as well. So thank you for giving me the time, and I'm definitely here to answer any questions if you have them. Thank you.
Thank you, Alexandria. Does the board have any questions for her? Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate the work you do. Excuse me, I either need to recognize you as a speaker here, or if you have a question for her, you can ask her after she leaves. Mm-hmm. Yeah, after she leaves speaking. Okay. And I'm going to call the next group. Thank you. All right, I'd like to recognize Crisis Control.
Good evening, Mayor and Board. I have with me, my name is Kathy Hoffner. I'm the Director of the Kernersville Crisis Control Office. And I have with me today Angie Williams, who is our Director of Philanthropy in the Winston office. We're glad to have her with us tonight. Thank you for this opportunity to talk to you this evening about the impact that Crisis Control Ministry has on our community. On your desk, you'll find a packet that I dropped off tonight. I'm not going to go through all those papers. You can certainly look at that at your convenience and learn a little bit more about the services offered at Crisis Control. But I will draw your attention to the paper on the right inside pocket. That is our community impact for fiscal year 2022-2023. And that has all the numbers there that you would need to know the impact that we have had on our community during that time frame. But just in round numbers to let you know that during the fiscal year, Crisis Control provided services for over 29 individuals in our area. And that was as a ministry as a whole. And the value of those services was over $3 million. In Kernersville alone, our office provided goods and services to over 2,500 residents at a cost of over $760,000. So you can see that we have a huge impact on our community. And who are these people that we help? I get that question often. Who's your typical client? Well, as there are no typical client, there are some typical situations. You probably come in contact with these people in your daily lives, so they're just not aware of it. It could be at your favorite restaurant, your waitress that serves you. You love to sit in her section because you know she's going to get your order right and she's going to keep your beverage full. Now, being a waitress was not her life's dream. She wanted to be a nurse, and she started the process, but life happened. She became a young single mother and had to put becoming a nurse on the back burner. She's still in school, working part-time, working full-time, and going to school part-time and taking care of her child. Well, everything is usually okay. She's usually able to make it every month, especially with her tips. But her child gets sick, and she has to be out of work to take care of her child. And those of us with children know once they get sick, next thing, you're sick. So she has to miss work. When she misses work, she has to make a decision. Am I going to pay my rent or am I going to pay my power bill? Because there's just not enough to do both. But when she comes to crisis control, we're able to help her with those bills so that she can go on working, being a mother, taking care of her child, and working to her goal of becoming a nurse. But you don't have to be a young mother to have a crisis. Crisis is really no respecter of age. It could be the little lady that sits in front of you at church. Now, if you looked in the Webster Dictionary, you would see her face as the iconic little grandmother. Every hair in place, always sitting neat, sweet smile, soft handshake. Now, when her husband was alive, they would never dreamed of asking for assistance. They had enough money to make all their needs met, buy a small house, put their children through school. But after his death, each month, it became harder and harder for her to make it on her own. And every fall, when it starts getting cold, without the help of crisis control, she would have to decide, am I going to buy fuel oil? Am I going to pay for my co-pays on my medication? Or am I going to buy food? That should never be. So with crisis control's help, she doesn't have to make that hard decision. But you don't have to be an elderly person. You don't have to be a young person. You can be a family with a mother and a father and still have a crisis. You may see a young couple walking down the street here in Kernersville on a Sunday afternoon and think, oh, it's nice that couple's out for a stroll as they push the stroller with a toddler in tow. But the reality of the situation is they're not out walking just for health. Walking is their only means of transportation right now. You see, he was working and had a good job, able to make his ends meet, but then the transmission went out on the car. Now, he has enough money to pay for the transmission, but if he pays for the transmission, he doesn't have enough money to pay his rent. So they can come to crisis control and get help with that rent so they can get their car fixed so they can get to work dependently, because depending on other people for a drive to work is not working out. Now, in that stroller, it's not another child, it's their groceries, because they're using it to walk to the store to get food. And it's not the grocery store because that's too far to go. So what they have to do is walk to the convenience store. And although it's convenient, it's not affordable for that family. And their food stamps or their SNAP benefits is used up extremely quickly, paying the high price of the food in the grocery store, but that is their only option. So when they come to crisis control, they not only get help with the rent so they can get their car fixed, but they get groceries. And it's not a food box packed. It's food they get to select. It's dry goods. It's meat, eggs, butter, milk, and cheese. And also it's baby diapers, cleaning supplies, toothpaste, toilet paper, paper towels, things that they cannot get with their SNAP benefits. So when they leave, they have groceries that will last their family for about 2 weeks, or at least until that food stamp card is reloaded. Now, I've just explained just a few situations where people come to crisis control for help and are able to get help. But the reality is it affects more than that family. It affects the entire community. Because you see, when somebody can't buy their medicine because of a $300 copay, then that $300 copay turns into a $10,000 hospital bill. And if they couldn't pay for that $300 medication, how are they going to pay a $10,000 hospital bill? Hospitals absorb that cost, but eventually it passes on to those others who come to the hospital and have to pay higher cost because of those who can't pay their bill. When children go to school hungry or worried about the fact that when they get home, they know that the refrigerator was empty when they left, that makes it harder for them to learn. Multiply that by multiple students in the classroom, and you can see how hard it is for that teacher to move that entire class forward to where they need to be. So it affects even our school systems. As a landlord, whenever you have multiple clients who can't pay their rent, it affects your bottom line. And whenever rents go unpaid, then it affects the ability for that landlord to keep that property looking nice, to do needed repairs. And then eventually, with multiple rents not being paid, he has to go up on the rent on everybody else in order to meet his bottom line. When employers have employees that can't make it to work on time or can't get to work at all, then it affects his bottom line and his ability to meet his deadlines. And then eventually, that increased cost that he has to pay to meet his deadlines is shown up to the average consumer of his products in higher prices. So you can see it truly affects the entire community, not just those who are impoverished whenever these people are not supported. So thank you on behalf of the clients and our volunteers and our staff for supporting us in the past and consider supporting us in the future. And in closing, I'd like to read you a recent Google review that we actually received this month from a client that we was able to help. And this is in their words, of course. I am so grateful for you guys. You guys provided support and help in a time when I really needed it. The process wasn't hard to get through. You guys were really generous. You were also patient and responsive. I appreciate everyone involved, and may God bless you. And everyone means you, because you're involved as a supporter of crisis control. I appreciate everyone involved, and may God bless you back sevenfold. And I believe we do get blessed back sevenfold. And as a community, we do, because you can see how the ripple effect goes when we're able to make supporting those in crisis a priority, both as an individual and as part of the town. So thank you for your help. Please take time to read through that packet. You'll learn a little bit more about crisis control. I'm not going to take up time to do that now, but it's all there for you. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Also, if you'll just look, I hope this is allowed, but if you'll look at the front of your packet, one of you up there has a sticker advertising our 50-year anniversary, which was last year. It should be on the very front. Who has that sticker? It looks, oh, Mr. Apple, you win the ball cap today. So this is yours. I'm going to lay it right here, so don't leave without your ball cap. Thank you. And if you have any questions?
Any questions? Thank you, Kathy.
Thank you. There's his ball cap.
All right, next is the Board of Aldermen, or wait a minute. The Senior Center presentation by the Board of Aldermen. I was reading your agenda packet information. The Senior Center, which is part of the Shepherd Center of Kernersville.
Good evening. I'm Lisa Miller. I'm the Senior Center Director for the Shepherd Center of Kernersville. And we are here tonight to do our annual presentation. With us tonight in the audience are a few board members, Lisa Simones, Dr. Althea Taylor-Jones, Scott Alderman, and Emily Farrell. I think I got it right. Also with us tonight is our new executive director. She will be on staff with us on April 10th. This is Ashley Cooper. We are so excited for her to be joining us. She has over 15 years experience in aging. She's coming from, let me get this right. She is coming to us as the Community Outreach and Development Director of Aging, Disability, and Transit Services in Rockingham County. So we are tremendously happy that she'll be joining us full-time on April 10th. And actually tonight, giving our presentation is going to be Debbie Kornatzer, who is our program coordinator. So Debbie's here to give our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Debbie.
Hi. Thank you for this opportunity to present our annual report. Last year was another amazing year for us at our new location, establishing our weekly, monthly programs and being creative with our new programs. Growth and regular programs. In order to reach citizens in our community, we've been able to add regular programs that were offered every day, week, or month, and have continued to increase the number of special programs those that are offered perhaps maybe once at a time. Our goal is to increase the number of total programs offered this year by 3%. Because we have increased the number of programs we offered in 2023, we have increased in participants as well. Growing from 2,656 participants in 2022 to 2,825 in 2023. And those who participated in our programs visited the center 21,569 times. That's 20% more than 2022. Last year, we began to track the number of new participants and those returning after 2 or more years. We saw 771 new participants and 143 returning participants. As an organization, we added 80 new volunteers and 58 new service recipients. Our regular programs include arts, social, creative, life enrichment education, health and wellness programs, and some of the most popular ones are our music jam sessions, watercolor club and an open paint studio, basket weaving, quilting, needle arts, dance lessons, chair exercise, tai chi, yoga, and cardio drumming. And our computer learning center, where individuals can learn to use smartphones, laptops, and tablets, or get technical assistance to remove viruses, update, or remove software. We had 252 computer lab appointments last year, serving 82 individuals. The new regular programs we started in 2023 were an additional beginner line dance class, American Sign Language practice group, bridge lessons, dominoes, euchre, and a ukulele troupe. The Senior Enrichment Center is made up of people from many places and countries. We are people who live and breathe in the Kernersville community and are willing to participate, volunteer, and learn from others. Our Tuesday morning programs consist of a stretch and flex exercise class followed by a music jam session. After some of the participants finish exercising, they go into the music jam session where musicians play instruments on guitars, ukuleles, banjos, and an electric piano, to name a few. The back-to-back programs are designed to provide a holistic approach to fitness and well-being, addressing not just the physical aspect of health, but also the mental and emotional aspects. Participants leave feeling stronger, more confident, and connected to themselves and others. Sometimes participants go to lunch together afterwards. We strive to educate and lead participants in advocacy by inviting speakers like Dr. Althea Taylor-Jones and the North Carolina Tar Heel representative to share her insights and recommendations to the North Carolina General Assembly. This includes updates on Senior Center General Purpose Fund, Medicaid, grant funding, long-term care, and others. Participants are encouraged to voice their concerns about aging issues, advocate for change, and ask questions. Our ukulele troupe began with just beginner ukulele lessons in July of 2022, and now they've become so experienced that they're going out to entertain others in the community. Our catheter port pillow program gave back to the community last year in collaboration with the Kernersville Chamber of Commerce, Kernersville Leadership, Always Best Care, Senior Enrichment Center sewing groups, and others to create catheter port pillows demonstrating the power of coming together for a meaningful cause. These pillows are not just helpful, but provide comfort to individuals undergoing cancer therapy, making their journey a little bit easier. Together, they completed enough pillows for a donation to the Novant Health Cancer Institute in Kernersville. We are especially pleased to continue our intergenerational programming with our local 4th grade class at Caleb's Creek Elementary. Our participants and students exchanged letters throughout the school year. This month, the students came to the Shepherd Center, met their pen pals in person, played bingo, and participated in a hot dog lunch and got to know them even better. During one exchange of letters, a senior pen pal received a pencil drawing of a vase of flowers from their student pen pal who loves to draw. The senior pen pal who is a participant in our watercolor studio on Wednesdays copied and transformed the drawing into a watercolor painting and sent it back to the student in a letter. And they were very happy to share their efforts at the bingo lunch. Another senior expressed her thanks for the center offering the pen pal program and being grateful she could be a part of it. The fourth grade teacher, Mrs. Badgett, shared with us that the pen pal program has been one of her best teaching aids because of these students missed most of their first grade year due to COVID. As a result, the students' handwriting was poor at the beginning of the year. Writing to the pen pals throughout the school year was so beneficial for letter formation, writing on the lines, organizing their thoughts, and so much more. She stated, "I think it is also important to use writing to get to know someone prior to actually meeting them. I believe the relationships formed between my fourth graders and the seniors are beneficial in so many ways. Seniors are full of knowledge and experiences that they share with the students. Young children are often self-centered, which is developmental, but the bonds formed between seniors and students break down those barriers and allow young children to have some empathy. Overall, this is a reminder of the power of human connection and the importance of intergenerational relationships in our community. Our special programming has been growing in interest, involving health, wellness, safety, and creative arts. And some of our most popular were Alzheimer's disease and related topics, our Veterans Coffee, health screenings for blood pressure, fall prevention and memory, home invasion prevention and self-defense class, coffee with a cop, painting, craft, and sewing classes. Some of our programs are offered virtually through Senior Planet and Zoom to reach those who are homebound. We offer many hybrid programs where a program on site is offered virtually as well. Yoga classes, cooking demos, and several educational lectures have been offered and will continue to be offered this way. Any program offered only virtually is also broadcast at the center for those comfortable with technology. The quality and quantity of programs we offer could not be possible without the many volunteers and collaborative partnerships we have developed over the years. In 2023, we had 122 volunteers to provide over 8,000 hours of program-related service. We collaborated with 120 businesses, organizations, and individuals to provide programming last year and plan to expand our collaborative partnerships this year. Tax preparation. Last year, we provided income tax preparation for low to moderate income individuals and families. We worked with the AARP Foundation Tax Aid Program to offer this service. Our 19 volunteers provided over 2,000 hours of service and were able to assist over 900 people to complete 600 plus tax returns. The average cost of a basic tax return is $220. We estimate we are saving our community $132,000 for this free service. Our projected number of completed turns for 2024 is 750 plus returns. Last year, on June 29th, our Senior Center was recertified as the North Carolina Senior Center of Excellence by the North Carolina Division of Aging and Adult Services. This is the highest certification given and is valid for 5 years through June 30th, 2028. Initially certified as a Center of Merit in 2002 and achieving Center of Excellence in 2008, 2013, 2018, and 2023, this marks 2 decades of offering programs and services to those aging in our community. Certification is voluntary and enhances the center's professionalism, accountability, quality, credibility, and promotes consistent, uniform standards. We are so pleased to have achieved this designation once again and to know we are providing exemplary services and programs for our community. I want to thank you for your financial support for the center programming at the Shepherd Center. The funding you provide will continue to be used for general operating purposes to cover program personnel, office, and other operating expenses so that we may continue to offer excellent programming and activities for health for aging adults who are aging disabilities at no cost or minimal being. Your strong investment in our aging population will help us to maintain as well as increase these vital activities in our community. We really truly appreciate the town of Kernersville providing for us now and has provided us in the past. Together with your support and the support of our community, we are enriching the lives of adults in Kernersville who are aging and disabled. If you have any questions, we'll be happy to answer them.
Are there any questions? Thank you. Thank you for your report and all that y'all do. Wow, some inspiring stories tonight. We appreciate all the nonprofit organizations that presented tonight and your many volunteers that make the magic happen. All right, we'll move on to roads. We love roads around here. Item C, consideration of a resolution to abandon NC DOT maintenance on 0.26 miles of Witt Station Lane. Mr. Swisher?
Madam Mayor and Board, this is the small road that leads into North Point Industrial Park. It's pretty much being replaced with Piedmont Commerce Drive, which is item D. So we're asking you to abandon the current Witt Station Lane and basically replace it with Piedmont Commerce Drive.
Okay. Do I have a motion for the abandonment?
So move.
Got a motion in favor of abandoning Witt Station Lane by Alderman Apple.
Second.
Second by Alderman Gorham. All in favor? It's unanimous. All right, item D, consideration of a resolution to add Piedmont Commerce Drive. Mr. Swisher, do you have further information?
No, ma'am, except for it basically runs into the industrial park that you see there off Macy Grove Road, and it will be on the state maintenance system.
Okay, do I have a motion to add Piedmont Commerce Drive?
So moved.
A motion by Mayor Pro Tem Thompson. Second?
Second.
Second by Alderman Gorham. All in favor? It's unanimous. All right, E is consideration of an agreement with NCDOT for improvements to Shields Road.
Madam Mayor and Board, I'm not sure where the agreement went to, but we have an agreement with DOT to do the road project out at Shields Road. That's the widening on Shields Road doing the turn lane that DOT required us to do. We worked that out with DOT. They've given us a cost estimate of $818,000 to do that. The board has approved it at a previous meeting. We've also went through the process and we have got funding for that. We will be moving the water and sewer line at our expense, but we've been given permission to use the money that we have in our reserve sewer fund for that. The standard contract with DOT, if there's any cost overruns, we're responsible for those. If we actually don't spend the full 818, then we get it back. As with other projects with DOT, we pay for it all up front and then they'll do it. And I mean, they send us cost estimates or actual costs along the way to let us know where we're at. So that is the agreement that we have. I can get you the actual agreement if you would like to see that. I don't have it with me, so I could get it to you before the end of the meeting tonight. But that's, in essence, what's in the agreement. It's like 3 pages and pretty short. They are ready to
When I click on the agenda item, it comes up.
Doesn't come up on mine, so I'm glad it comes up on y'all's. I
Under
don't
E?
need to see it, so.
It does. Curtis, it came up as the second.
Okay, good deal. Y'all got it? We're good. I
Yes.
don't need it. I've seen it. So.
We got it.
Oh, I see it right there below mine. Okay. I didn't see it to start with. So any questions with that agreement? This is a standard DOT agreement for any road project they do.
Curtis, just for purposes of the folks in the audience and watching the broadcast, this has largely been dictated by the construction of the new Recreation and Events Center, the intersection of Shields and Union Cross, I believe. Is that correct?
Correct. And to clarify, DOT is doing widening on its own on Union Cross Road on the, I guess, the south side of the intersection. And they will be doing the widening on Shields Road we've asked them if they could do it at the same time they do their project. Our widening has been necessitated by the new event center being there. It is a DOT requirement. It's not unusual. Any large subdivision that's built sometimes has turn lane requirements.
Do you have further questions or comments, Mr. Apple? No, ma'am. Do I have a motion?
I move approval.
Okay. Motion by Alderman Penix. Second by Alderman Barrow. All in favor? It's unanimous. All right, the consent agenda. These items are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion with no separate discussion unless a board member or citizen so requests, in which event the matter will be removed from the consent agenda and considered under the following item. A, approval of minutes for the February 28th regular meeting. B, approval of minutes for the March 6th regular meeting. Does anyone in the audience want to see any of these items removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, do any of the board members have corrections to either of these minutes? Seeing none, do I have a motion for approval of the consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mayor Pro Tem Thompson,
Second.
second by Alderman Apple. All in favor? It's unanimous. All right, item 3, we've already handled. Item 4 is a briefing, and we get to talk about a sidewalk. Mr. Swisher, do you want to pick up with the public hearings?
I'll let Ms. Garner cover those in case you have any questions.
Go ahead.
Items A and B are rezoning requests down at Harmon Creek Shopping Center area. So the first one is a small parcel off of the Walmart parcel, and that is proposed for a restaurant with drive-through service. And item B is at the corner of South Main Street and Harmon Creek. What is the name of the road, right? I'm having trouble with road names today. But this was recently rezoned within the last year or two to the restaurant with drive-through. It was going to be the Slim Chickens. They decided not to complete that project. And so this case is to rezone it for motor vehicle repair and maintenance on that same parcel there on the corner by the Lowe's Hardware. Item C is a text amendment for our...
Are they both on the same corner?
No. Item B is at the corner of South Main by the Burger King. And then item A is tucked in off of Main Street by the Walmart. If you're driving into Walmart, Chick-fil-A's on your right, you go past the little road that'll take you up to Target, and it's the small parcel that's just ahead on your right.
Okay, yeah, that had been rezoned to be an ice cream shop. And
Yes.
then they didn't build because...
Correct.
Okay.
Item C is a text amendment for our Unified Development Ordinance. We've been working really hard with a consultant from State Code Enforcement to reorganize our UDO. There's no change to the information except for updating for some environmental laws that changed at the state level, a few recent zoning changes that have been made at the state level, but this is just putting the information into a more user-friendly format so that our customers who are trying to find information, either to submit a rezoning plan or to add an accessory structure at their house, can more easily find the information that they're looking for. It puts it into an organization that flows a little bit better where like items are together, as opposed to some information is in one place and the rest of the information you need is in another place. We've been working really hard on this for nearly a year now. We did have some community support in editing this. Mr. Dappin generously volunteered his time to help us proof it. So it's been looked at by my department and our friends in the community. So it received, all of these cases received positive support from Planning Board at the last meeting.
Can you send us the planning board minutes?
Yes.
For any discussion they had about it? All right, does anyone have any questions? Okay. All right, then we'll go on to the public session with the annual reports and budget requests. So we'll have the Salvation Army and also the Automobile Museum will be added as B2 that we've already voted to do. And then item C, Mr. Swisher, looks like it's a fire prevention grant.
Yes, ma'am. We're requesting approval to apply for a grant from FEMA and the Fire Prevention and Safety. It's a $15,000 grant, and it would be used to purchase a fire extinguisher training system. And our cost, our shared cost of that is 5%. So if we get awarded the grant, we would have to put up $750, and then they would cover the $14,250.
Sounds like a really good program. Be really helpful for our businesses and others in the community. I think that the CPR classes are very popular that the fire department is holding, and some of the other citizen and business training that we offer. So thank you for being so proactive in looking for ways to serve our community, Chief. All right. Curtis, is there anything you plan to present on Tuesday that you don't already have listed on the agenda?
Not that I know of right now.
Okay. All right, so that will bring us back. Does anybody have any questions about the April 2nd meeting? All right, that brings us back to tonight. Mr. Swisher, do you have a report this evening?
I do not.
Okay. Mr. Powell?
I don't have a report tonight, but do have need for a closed session.
Okay. Matters to be presented by the Mayor, Board of Aldermen. We'll begin with Mayor Pro Tem Thompson.
I have nothing, thank you.
Mr. Barrow? Make sure we can hear you.
Just a couple of things to follow up with Curtis on the deal that was going on down at the other end of Main Street. All that resolved, is that not correct? That parking issue?
At which place on Main Street?
Well, I mean, down, there was a new business that moved in. And
We resolved it with Blue Nest. I think it's been resolved with Social Habit. I think that parking's been resolved. And I know Chris Jensen in Community Development was meeting with Mr. Crutchfield. I don't know if he met with him yet this week. And I think he was going to meet with him again this week to show him a plan as to what would be the easiest fix for his parking lot. I don't know if he has or not. Mr. Crutchfield, did he meet with you? Yes. Okay. So those have been taken care of. I don't know. I haven't talked to Chris yet to see what the outcome was with Mr. Crutchfield, but the other two, I'm pretty sure they have been resolved, and we're working on Mr. Crutchfield.
Good deal. Also, have you been coming along on the pool progress? How's it going?
Nothing other than we're in the middle of the budget, and I've been meeting with the different department heads, and so we will start putting all of that together. We are looking at the pool cost of it, how we would finance that over a period of time, some estimated payments and so forth. So we'll be working on that probably over the next month or so. We've not got some different options, as you're aware, for locations, but we've not really nailed one down, so to speak. We have some that I think are the preference of folks over others, but first thing we got to figure out really how we're going to pay for it. And if we can get it in the budget and we do it on land that the town owns, then we don't have any costs for land. And so it would just be the actual construction and everything. So we are working on that now and going through the budget with everything else and trying to get it in without having a 15-cent tax increase.
Cool. I appreciate your work on that. Thank you.
Mr. Apple?
Mayor, I want to have something to say that I think is extremely positive. And Mr. Page's presentation this morning on the Channel 8 on WGHP News, His smiling face woke me up about 6:30 this morning, and again at 7:30. But it basically was information about part of the growth and development of Kernersville, a big part of it. And I think Cindy Farmer and her partner on the broadcast basically began things by saying that Kernersville is growing and thriving. And they mentioned specifically things like the Recreation and Event Center. They mentioned housing. They mentioned businesses. They mentioned industry. And it was an extremely positive piece on Kernersville. And not just because we have the privilege of serving as your Board of Aldermen, but it's a privilege to live here. And each one of you who are watching and listening tonight, I know share my pride in Kernersville and the growth and planning that has taken place not just over the last couple of years, but over boards and decades before us to plant the seeds for this growth and development. But Ernie, you did an extraordinary job of representing our town. You were interviewed 2 different clips, the early clip and the next early clip. And I think you represented us extremely well and helped to cast a very positive image on our community. So thank you and congratulations for doing that.
Mr. Corum? Mr. Penix?
Madam Mayor, I do have some good news. I got a call from Kernersville Medical Center yesterday, and they've already delivered 7 babies at our new birthing center. So I thought that was great news.
It's fantastic. It's a really nice facility. A lot of people went to the community open house and saw it, but it's very, very nice.
It is nice. It is nice.
I'd like to compliment Kernersville's Parks and Rec and maintenance. I have to say Founders Park, it's pretty all the time, but the spring colors in the park are just amazing, with the shrubs being that kind of a pinkish reddish and the flowering trees, and it just looks quite beautiful. So it's really special when a garden can look different in different seasons. So I appreciate the efforts and all the small but important changes that are happening around town with the landscaping and those things that we provide. Very proud that we were able to operate Senior Gardens now and make that facility just a great place for events and for people in the future. I attended an event there recently that had been reserved prior to the town taking ownership of the gardens, and they still had their event. It was just the same as when it was operated by the foundation, so with the feel of the place. So we're doing a great job keeping that available for the citizens to enjoy. So appreciate all the hard work that goes into it by everybody involved. All right, now it looks like we need to do a closed session.
Yes, Madam Mayor, pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 143-318-11A3, I move that the board go into closed session to consult with an attorney employed or retained by the public body in order to preserve the attorney-client privilege between the attorney and the public body, which privilege is hereby acknowledged.
There's a motion. Do I have a second? A second by Mayor Pro Tem Thompson. All in favor? It's unanimous. This board is now in closed session. Thank you.